while we're here, might as well check on what Asmongold has to say, because there's apparently a hot take regarding his opinion on Sony's decision to move away from physical media. Now, what's the worst thing that he could? What is the worst thing that Asmongold could say? Because I will say, for him at least, in my understanding of the world of Asmongold, he is a huge PC gamer, and I'm sure he's had experiences of like physical media, but let's hear him first, because I don't know how bad it could be.
This is that people are getting a false sense of security about owning the piece of plastic, as if that actually gives them any privilege. You can still get hardware locked. You can still be software locked. Please do not miss the forest from the trees. The holy grail is consumer protections laws and regulations. Please stop thinking that because you own a disc, you have any sort of immutable right over the copyrighted content that you own. Please don't do that. You can dog on me and shit on me and try to disprove me with everything else, but please do not lose sight of the end goal, which is better consumer protections, because nothing else will solve this problem. And I dislike the foundation of this, which implies that digital ownership should come with less consumer protections. Foundationally and just ideologically, I dislike that. And I don't think that's the way it should be. This is that people are getting a false sense of security about owning the piece of plastic, as if that actually gives them any privilege. You can still...
I mean, the sense of security... I don't know how I feel about this, because the sense of security that we get from owning physical media is the idea that I can play... It's the fact that I can play... Oh, God. I need examples. Oh God, I don't mind you. I don't mind the things that you spit, but geez, let me just find something to talk about, because what can I do? What can I do? God. Because let's take Resident Evil 2 for example. I have the disc. The disc is beautiful. Because like the sense of security for me, the sense of security, I cannot talk. The sense of security that this piece of plastic provides me is that I can play this PlayStation 4 Resident Evil 2 game on my PlayStation 4, on an older PlayStation 4, on a Slim, on a Pro, and I can give this to my nephew in the next 5 years, and as long as we have a working device, then he can play that game. Granted, it may not be a game for a 5-year-old, but that is a thing that he can do. That's just the thing about it. Like, the fact of us being able to play, this is Animal Crossing. The cartridge is still there. Yeah, the cartridge is still there. It's still fine. But yeah, that's the thing about it, right? Is the fact that the ability to play games, and like even like the ability to play Bloodborne, which is a game that people have loved for the past 10 years. I can give this to my I didn't know what that was, but anyways, it's like the sense of security that I don't know that he's aware of is the fact that I can bring this across the world in the next 5 years. As long as my PlayStation 4 is taken care of, I can still play this game in 5 years. Or my nephew, or the next person, right? You can still...
Still get hardware locked. You can still be software locked. Please do not miss the forest from the trees.
I mean, the only way that we can be software locked and system locked again is if we don't play the appropriate copy. I don't think I can simply put my English Resident Evil into a Japanese console and be fine, right? That's a region lock. I can understand that. If I'm software locked It may look like me not being able to like play on a broken PlayStation. That makes sense, but
The holy grail is consumer protections laws and regulations. Please stop thinking that because you own a disc, you have any sort of immutable right over the copyrighted content that you own.
but isn't that the point of like stop killing games? Is the fact that like because like sure there are like certain games that can be played offline. I mean, he's not wrong. What he's saying isn't wrong either, and the people arguing aren't wrong either. The Holy Grail is consumer. The Holy Grail is consumer protections, protection laws and regulations. Yeah. Okay. Sure. So that means like, how do I know what? How does this mean to me? Please stop thinking of that because you own it. Please stop thinking of that because you don't because you own a disc. You have any sort of immutable right over the copyright content that you own. I mean, it's not like I'm not sure where this is coming from. To where I mean, I have a right to play it. I have the right to display it. I have the right to share it. But by all means, the the action of burning copies of that disc, I don't think we can anymore. You can buy. I guess you could buy like um disk drives and like burn one disc onto another and make bootleg copies, right? You could technically do that. Um he's not wrong in his position either. He's not wrong. And the arguments against them, which we'll go through in the thread, aren't wrong either.
Please don't do that. You can dog on me and shit on me and try to disprove me with everything else, but please do not lose sight of the end goal, which is better consumer protections, because nothing else will solve this problem. And I dislike the foundation of this, which implies that digital ownership should come with less consumer protections. Foundationally, and just
Because like I do agree to the fact that like the consumer protections for physical media should also be the same kind of consumer protections that we have on digital media, because digital media almost has no protection, to where when you buy a digital game on Steam, Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, you are buying the license permission to play it, right? But that also means, but it comes to the caveats to where like say, hey, all of a sudden my PC, if I guess what he's trying to say is like it's more important to it is I agree that it's more important to like include digital games into the same consumer protections that physical media has. People, but it's I don't know why people are dogging on him, but let's like see down below, I guess. See this? I don't want to get see this. I don't want them to get rid of physical copies because that's how I've got practically all my games, with the exception of here and there. But we do need protective laws to ensure that we don't get shafted still by game companies. I mean, that makes sense. Like, I don't. It's incredibly crazy to where back in the day, 5 years ago, digital games were cheaper than physical. We all knew this, and we chalked it up to where the price, the service that it takes, the amount of time that it takes to go to the factory, tell the factory to make the game. They make the disc, they package it up, they send it to GameStop or to Fry's Electronics, and then we buy it. That makes sense. The entire process from factory to distributor to consumer, that makes sense. I don't mind paying the extra $10 or something to get a physical copy, right? But it's something entirely to but it is also true that people want to know that they own it, and at this point we live in a society to where if you don't maintain your passwords and accounts appropriately, you lose everything in that account. That makes some kind of sense to where you have the responsibility of the content that you purchase, right? What do you mean? But he literally does not know what he's talking about. Physical copies are the only way to truly own your video games. The overwhelming majority of PlayStation games can, in fact, be installed and played fully offline. But again, like the games are the it depends, right? Well, actually, that is a good question. Um, can you play? Do you need the internet to access your Steam library if games are installed onto PC? You don't need a you can you don't need a constant internet connection. You can play your installed games offline using Steam offline mode. However, you need internet access at least once to log in, authenticate your ownership, and enable the offline feature. Okay, so like so there is an argument to like the argument where Axel is making is absolutely correct. To where off rip, if I'm offline, if I don't have the access to the internet, um, I can't simply turn on my computer and start playing Monster Hunter, right? The process for me to the process for me to play my PC copy of uh, Monster Hunter is to first turn on my computer, and then when I switch the Steam needs to authenticate my ownership by using the internet, and then I can go hog wild on it, right? That's my understanding. To where, but that's the thing to where like, but I could, but then that's the conversation to where I can. Same example. I can be in Hawaii. I could have no. I could be in the desert and somehow have a generator turn on a computer. Turn on a monitor or TV. Like yeah, like the conversation. The important thing about having physical ownership of your games is the fact that I can go to China and on day one before no that might not be a good example, but the fact is I can go to somebody else's home and put my game in their console and start it up without the requirements of the internet, right? Offline mode would mean that I can insert this game into their console. It downloads the game into the console because it's able to do that because the information's on this disc. And then I can play Resident Evil 2 on their console pre-update. Because there's a specific 1.000 version of this game on this disc, allegedly, right? So I can go to Chris's house. I can put this into Chris's computer, Chris's PlayStation 4, and without waiting for the internet, I can play this game as it is without the updates. I think that's the argument. But when it comes to like digital ownership, there is also GOG, I think, too. But the point is, like, if you have Steam needs to authenticate your permission to own it, right? So there's that argument. It's because Asmund forgets that physical does mean you 100% own it despite a software lock, because you can make sure your console isn't connected to the internet. That won't happen. I never turned on the internet for. Yeah, that's right. That makes sense. I mean, you don't need the internet for the Wii U, for the Switch, or PlayStation 3 to play your games, right? As long as the game is on your console, you can play it without the internet. That makes sense. I think Asman is forgetting that physical copies means you own it. Yeah, so like the physical copy means that you don't need somebody to authenticate that you own it, right? He's pushing this false equivalency as if this has been a decade-old issue, thus is a current generation console problem, starting by Steam sales and continued by Sony and Microsoft. Yeah, because like Xbox and Sony and Nintendo, they've been selling physical games for a very long time, right? So all those physical games that they've sold, they have the ability to play as long as you put them into a device that can read that information. As long as that software is taken care of correctly, you can play that game. Does not take away from the fact that Asmund seems to have more of a beef with people who want to own their media than with the corporations trying to control everything. I mean, I don't know what that means, but none of this matters if servers get shut down or infrastructure fails. Plus, the less robust a physical copy is, the less value it retains, and people should be able to invest in physical media that's completely independent of the internet. Yeah, like the ultimate goal, like I don't know why that's a thing. That's incredibly wild. But like I can see where he's upset. I can see where he's trying to like get people off his back. But again, that's like saying I know you can still be software locked, but it doesn't change the situation to where. But does the chance of being software locked change the fact that if the internet's dead, can you still play this game? You turn off your computer, you turn it back on, the internet's dead. Can you still play your game that's bought through Steam or Epic? Steam, definitely no. Let me see. Let me see if I can rephrase that. Hold on. What about Epic? You don't need you still need the internet to get the launcher to authenticate your purchase still. What about Xbox library? You must enable offline permissions on the Xbox app while connected to the internet before you play offline. Okay. That makes sense. But that's the thing. Like you have to. Both things have a situation where you need to set it up first before you can turn on your play your games off rip. That's just the crux of it. And that's like the situation. So I mean, Asman, you're right. I don't know if you're addressing the other concerns to where like yes, you can still be software locked like that. Because again, let me hear it again.
Ideologically is that people are getting a false sense of security about owning the piece of plastic as if that actually gives them any privilege. You can still get hardware locked.
If I'm in the forest, I have the privilege of still playing the game. If it's feature complete, even if I delete all the save files and the existence of it on my PlayStation, I can't just take this to camp where there's no internet and still play it. I can't do that if I digitally own games. Shoot, even with the PlayStation 4, I need to like turn it on. Like as long as my games are on the console and the external hard drive, I can play it for whenever I want, right? But when it comes to like turning off the internet, most games need the authentication of the app that you bought it from.
You can still be software locked. Please do not miss the forest from the trees. The holy grail is consumer protections laws and regulations.
And you're absolutely right about the consumer protections. You need to extend physical media protections onto digital as well. There was even a lawsuit for PlayStation, I think, to where people chose to buy. I think there was a certain lawsuit to where people chose to buy the digital media, the digital library of people's films on their consoles were somehow removed, or like at least like it's not re-downloadable. They couldn't re-download the movie that they purchased because of the practices from PlayStation, I think.
Please stop thinking that because you own a disc, you have any sort of immutable right over the copyrighted content that you own. Please don't do that. You can dog on me and shit on me and try to disprove me with everything else, but please do not lose sight of the end goal, which is better consumer protections, because nothing else will solve this problem. And I dislike the foundation of this, which implies that digital ownership should come with less consumer protections.
But it does, though. Wait, hold on, what?
And I dislike the foundation of this, which implies that digital ownership should come with less consumer protections.
But wait, what? But digital ownership, but media that you buy digitally do have less.
Foundationally and just ideologically, I dislike that problem, and I dislike the foundation of this, which implies that digital ownership should come with less consumer protection.
Digital ownership should come with less. But that's what the companies do, though. Isn't that right, though? Because I don't think... I mean, I'm sure Asmongold understands the fact that even on the user agreement for Steam, for the PlayStation Store and Xbox Store and Nintendo Store, they all say this. They all say the same line to where when you purchase this through the store, it gives you permission. It gives you the license, the permission to play the game, right? Versus owning it. You don't, because like the moment you, it gives the company the right to like revoke your access if they have a reason to believe so. And for the normal consumer, they wouldn't give they shouldn't have a reason to revoke that right. But that's the thing. If my copy of Monster Hunter on PC, I don't own it. I own the permission to play it, but I don't own that game. That part I don't understand from Aspen. Just help me.